Hey guys, what is going on? Rum Soaked Pirate here, and welcome to one of my 3D tutorials. Today I am working on helping you guys create a logo from scratch from a 2D image. So, as I always say in my videos in my other channel, um, this is not the only way to do this. This is the way that I do it. As you'll find, there are many other ways that it can be done and approached. However, I try to get just to the base of it and get it down packed for you guys to easily understand it. So let's dig in. Um, Actually, before I dig in, just to let you guys know a little bit about me. I am a 14-year graphic designer, and I am a 5-year 3D modeler animator, and I graduated from Full Sail University. And so yeah, so that's a bit about me. So let's dig in. So the first thing we do is when we open Maya, I always change my settings. You don't have to, depending on your project. But I've gotten used to it because sometimes I do projects that need to be in a certain measurement. So when I come here, I go to System Settings, and sorry, sorry, Maya settings. I was on something else. So you go to Settings, and you change this from centimeter to inch, depending on your project. Um, in this case, I'm gonna do it this way. And so each cube from here to here is an inch. Okay, that's very important to know. So if you're gonna make it 10 inches, you're gonna go 5 this way and 5 this way. The first thing you're gonna do is import your reference image. So I'm gonna go to View, Import Image here. I'm gonna go to my downloads, and I'm gonna go to my logo. Okay, this is huge. We don't want this big. So we're gonna press R, and it's gonna give you the scale tool, and you're gonna shrink it down. I think that's fine for me. We're gonna press W, and we're gonna push this back into space. So by holding Option or Alt and clicking, let me show you guys because I'm using a Wacom tablet, and so I just do it automatically, and sometimes I forget what is what. Let's leave this here for a minute. So in my Wacom settings, I'm gonna go to my pen settings. I'm gonna show you guys how I got it set up. So when this is okay, let me go to my pen settings. It should pop up. Okay, so I have it set up like this. When I click this one, it's gonna be right click, and I change this to middle click. So if I press Alt or Option because I'm on my Mac, and I click and drag with the bottom click, which I just showed you guys is oh god, sorry guys. It's hard to explain once you do it. Right click, okay. So right click, hold down Alt or Option and right click and drag, you get this. If you press middle click, also it works, but if you press middle click alone, sorry guys. Okay, anyway, never mind. It's the rum. Blame it on the rum. Let's dig in. So let's hide here. We don't need to see our grid. If you ever have a doubt of what you're hovering over, you can do that. Or once you hover over it, it'll show you here at the bottom too, okay? So we don't need this for now. It's not important. I pushed this back into space. The reason that I did that was because I don't want it interfering. If I have to rotate on something, I don't want it in my way. So I want it as far back as I need. So let's leave this here. The first thing we're gonna do is this black outline, okay? Because that's gonna be our base. I'm not gonna do the words today. We're just gonna do the bull, okay? So let's create a plane. You press E, you get the rotation gimbal, and if you hold down J, click and drag, it snaps. Here you're gonna see how much it's snapping at the bottom. So that's 90 degrees. That's what I want, okay? You'll see it down here. It will show you 90 degrees, okay? So normally I would do this. I don't think it's symmetrical. Probably it is. Let's try it out. If it's not symmetrical, then we'll have to face another way. But we'll get to that part later. Let's press W. We're gonna move this up here, okay? We're going to shading, X-ray, shading, wireframe unshaded, and we're gonna click on mesh tools, insert edge loop. If you double click here, you're gonna get a window, this window. Right now I want one in the middle because we're gonna work in symmetry to see how that works, okay? So once you press 1, press enter, you can close this. Insert edge loop and press 1 right here, okay? Q, right click vertex, okay? Now we're gonna have to turn on our symmetry. So you come up here, and I usually use world, okay? So let's do this. We're gonna take these two, press W, and what you do on one side happens on the other, so that's a good thing, okay? So we're gonna take this, we're gonna bring it down to about the ear corner, and we're gonna take this and push it right around here. So we need to go lower, right there, okay? And let's push this here. Let me see. No, you see there's a drop there. So let's leave this here. We're gonna right click, select edge, click here, shift click and drag. Shift click and drag one more time. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna zoom in a little bit, right click and drag, and we're gonna push this down here. So we're gonna click it here, and we're gonna click this one here, okay? Make sure you're following that line. We'll bevel this, we'll fix that later. Here we're gonna have to line it up. So we're gonna line these two up, one here and one here, okay? So we're following that edge. Now if we, let me see if I can push this more and get away with it. Okay, so I think I can get away with this as far as it being straight to about right there. That's very important, guys, because you know you don't need too many lines or edges to create this. So the way I do it, again, remember guys, this is the way I do it, is I start following, shift clicking and dragging the edges, right? So I'm following that line. These I'll accommodate in a bit, but I'm following this into as best as I can, which is about, let's try right there for now. And the way you're gonna take this is you're gonna take this vertex and you're gonna push it and start forming your shape, okay? So let's say I want that one right about, let's try to line it up, see what we get, right? Because we don't want this to be clunky. You see these curves? We don't want them to be clunky. We want them to be nice, soft curves. So that one should be here. Let me push this one out. This one should be here. This one right around here. Okay, we're trying to make sure that it's not a hard, clunky edge. Because that will reflect later on if you leave it that way and you forget, you know, that it's supposed to be nice and smooth. I think I overdid it. Yeah, you know what? I overdid it. So we're gonna have to reposition, okay? A little bit. Okay, and this is very important because you want your logo to have a perfect match around. See how it follows perfectly? You don't see like a sharp edge. We don't like sharp edges when it comes to something like this project here. Okay, so let's keep going. I'm gonna press the space bar. If you press the space bar in any of the tabs, it'll focus on just that tab, okay? So far we're good. Let's keep going. And if we can see, it's doing both sides, so that's what we wanted. So we're gonna keep doing the same work that we did. Now it's gonna get a little bit tighter around here. So we're gonna hold down shift, click and drag. Shift, click and drag. Shift, click and drag. Shift click and drag. Let's fix this, see how much farther we gotta go. So for now we're gonna take these and we're gonna start working them into that curve, okay? Very important. We're making sure that nothing looks weird once we start looking at it like this. So if I press right click in object mode, you'll see that there's no sharp edges. You see what I mean? Very limited. That's what we're looking for, okay? Let's keep going. So I'm gonna right click edge, shift click and drag again and again and one more time, okay? Because for what I'm understanding here now, we should be getting rid of the many curves that we need, and we should be getting to straighten out to the end of the horn. So let's just keep clicking and dragging. You see how I don't need that many? I'm just clicking and dragging that edge and it's conforming. Let's push this one down so we can start straightening up, and this one too. And one more, okay? Because we want to start straightening up. We don't want to keep it with a weird curve. So now, if click and drag, let's fix this vertex here. See how it's straightening up? That's what we want here. Because now we're getting to the end, and we have to modify that end there. So we want it to be straight. We don't want a weird curve. So let's push this here, let's push this here, and it should be perfect. Yep, you see how it's straightening out? We can even take this one and straighten it out more. So that's fine for me, and this is fine for me here. Now with this edge, we're gonna have to work this in here. Let's see if one is fine enough, okay? So I think, let me see. Yeah, I think that's fine for now, right? So here, how do we approach this? Let's finish the rest, and then we'll get to that in a minute. So we're gonna take this edge here, right click edge, click on that, shift click and drag, okay? And when we get to the point of the ear there, we're gonna take this corner and we're gonna push it in, okay? Now we're gonna go back to the edge, shift click and drag. And here we're gonna work a technique a little bit easier. So we're gonna take this and make sure that it's where it's gonna go, right? Okay, and we're gonna insert about 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's insert 6 edge loops, and we're doing equal. So let's put 6 and see what we get. I think that should be good. Let's close this. Vertex W, we're gonna push these out to see if we're right. So that's 1, 2, 3. So far so good, guys and gals. So I'm happy with that. Edge again, click edge, shift click and drag, okay? Now here we're gonna use a different technique. We're gonna right click vertex W, push this out to there, edge, shift click and drag and push that out to there. Vertex, we're gonna push that to match, let's say right there, edge, shift click and drag to here. And now with this one, we're gonna take this vertex and we're gonna push it to about right here. Okay, we're gonna add more edge loops in a minute. This one here, I want to do it differently. I want to click it, shift right click and bevel edge. Oops. That's what I wanted. Now, this blue side, this blue circle here, if the more blue it has, the faster it goes and it can crash Maya. I usually bring it to like the Pac-Man mouth in gray with a little bit of blue. Add, let's say, 4 segments, and let's shrink it out. Okay, I think there. Now what we do with that is we take the vertex here and we push this out to meet that edge that we want, okay? So instead of guessing, we got a nice decent amount of bevel edges and we're okay. This should be more in here. and it should be down more. So you see, this is sometimes things you got to check up on. Yeah, I think that's fine for me. Here we can do the same. So we're gonna insert those 6 again, vertex W, and we're gonna push those out, okay? So we're gonna push that out. We're gonna keep going. Okay, I'm just clicking and dragging, nothing special here. Nothing out of the norm. I'm just clicking and dragging. If I forget to mention something that I'm doing, guys, because I'm so used to just doing this automatically, if I don't mention something, feel free to comment and let me know, hey, look, you did this, I don't know how you did it, and I can answer you personally and help you out with it. So anything that I'm doing, as you can see, is when I'm clicking, it should show you guys. I turn on the click so you guys can see it. Is clicking, dragging, and just pointing, okay? I'm not doing anything special unless I say otherwise. But again, if you need help with anything that I'm doing and you don't see it, let me know, please. Don't hesitate to ask. I'm gonna insert 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna insert 4. Let's make it 5, just in case. I'm gonna insert 5 here, and I'm gonna here. And I'm gonna stretch those out to where I need, okay? So here we're gonna have to get a little bit closer. Don't be afraid to get close. And we're going to push this one down. 2, we're gonna push this one here. Okay, and then we'll straighten everything else out in a minute. 3, okay, we have to play with this one a little bit. And try to keep these straight if you can. If that's possible, as much as possible, so that once we do the everything else, it's pretty much clean geometry. That's the most important part of modeling, is keeping the geometry clean, okay? So I'm happy with this one. Okay, so I'm happy with that outline, okay? We still have the ears to do. So now with the ears, we're gonna click shift click and drag. I'm gonna press R, flatten this out, press W and bring it out to here, okay? Now from here, I'm gonna take this out and press W. I'm gonna pop one here, and I'm gonna pop this one. Yeah, let's do it this way, guys, because this way it's a bit more firm. I'm gonna push this down a little more to about there. And we're gonna push this one up because we're gonna try to straighten out towards the end, okay? So edge. So shift click and drag. Shift click and drag. Shift click and drag. Shift click and drag. And maybe one more. Okay. So the reason I did that this way now is because now I want to adjust this end, okay? I want to try to adjust these without having too many edges, okay? So let's keep moving these along. Keep moving that along. You see, so you don't need that many. As long as you keep that nice smooth contour, sometimes you don't need so much geometry to pull things along. I think I might have to insert one more here. And I believe that's, yeah, I believe that is one more that I have to insert. So I'm going to insert an edge loop right here because I need that. Oh, I forgot to reset it. So double click, reset tool, and then click one right in the middle, okay? The vertex W, and we're going to click and drag this. The edge. Okay, so why did I leave these like this? This is worked in a different way, okay? So we're gonna do this. We're gonna take an edge loop and we're gonna insert one right here. Okay, and we're gonna press R and we're gonna flatten this. We're gonna push it up because we want clean geometry always, okay guys? That's the whole point of everything that we're doing. And we're gonna push this and we're gonna take this out to about, Let's move these up because it's not where I want it to be. I want that to be as much in the middle as possible, so I think that's fine there. And I'm gonna push this out, okay? And so I'm gonna take this edge, shift right click, bevel edge. This is what I want, but I need more. So I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna go to 3, 4, and I'm gonna stretch that. So once I stretch and I press vertex, press W, you'll see that I'm gonna get a nice, pretty smooth looking curve, okay? And this is what we're aiming for, okay? This is what we're trying to aim for. So now both sides are done, okay? And so now we finished almost. Yeah, we need one more here. Same process, insert an edge loop, and we're actually gonna change this to 1 to make sure that it's perfectly in the middle. So because we can't straighten out this one, we want it to flow right in the middle, right? I can't straighten this out because it's gonna damage my geometry. Right click vertex, W, and I'm gonna click this right to about here, okay? That's as close as I want it. Edge. It's already selected, as you can see from the last time I worked on it. So bevel edge. We're gonna freshen it out, and we're gonna add 6 on this one, okay? We want it very spread out, okay? So it makes it easier for us to work if we go here, take this one here, take this one around here, this one around here, here, one here, and this curve right at the top. So the point is to get everything nice and curvy. Sometimes it's gonna have situations where you don't want to add too much geometry, but you want it to look curved. So I'm happy with that, right? And so this is the first part of the tutorial, which is the base. Once I'm done with this and the next tutorial, so I don't keep you guys here for hours and hours. In the next tutorial, I'm gonna then do the inside of the bowl, which is the red and the white part, and we'll be working that symmetrically as well. But let's finish this up before I finish the tutorial. Here, I want to take the grid and I want to hide it, and I want to spacebar and come in here, okay? If we press 3 on this, it shows a smooth version. It's gonna crash. It looks, it doesn't keep the form. You can see, look at the edges. What we want to do for that to work is we want to come into this window, click outside, mesh tool, insert edge loop, click on the window so you can see it, and reset it, but change it to equal distance from the edge. Why? Because sometimes when it's something like this, you want it to keep a perfect edge. You don't want it to be thin in one side and then it gets wider in the other, because that damages the edge of your geometry. So for example, see how if I click here, you see what that does? It gives you thin here, but it gets thicker here. If you want to see which one works better, you can go to relative and try that. And you see how relative starts to crash here? That's not what we want. However, if we equal, watch the difference. That's what we want. We want that to be equal and not crash. Same thing here. It's going to give you a nice equal. Okay. One here, because these are all supporting edge loops, okay? These are all supporting edge loops. You want one here, and one here, okay? Now look how tight that stays. Okay, let's keep moving on. We want one here, very tight. One here. Again, if you press 3, which is what I'm doing, it keeps a tight edge. And here, we're gonna have to work these vertex. So press Q, W, and drag these up, okay? You don't want these to crash into each other. This is not good geometry, okay? You want it to keep a nice clean edge, so we're gonna lift these up and make sure that it follows that whole edge here, okay? That's the point of me saying that you want it to be equal, okay? And let's see here, I'm not gonna mess with that. Let's take these two and see what happens. See, no, they have to be that way. Let's keep going around and checking our edges. Insert edge loop. We're gonna insert one here, okay? Let's look at the top, what's going on, okay? That's fine for me. That's fine for me. And here, let's see. That's fine for me. I think I'm happy with that. So you always want to make sure that it supports here. Those, you see it's connected 1, 2, 3, and 4. It's missing one here. So if I press 3 now, it's a sharp edge. If not, that would have collapsed. Okay, so I am very happy with this. All the sections are supported here. You have one here, one here, one here, and one here. So the way we would prove this is if we come here, we press Q, and we press 3, it's integrity, right? So now let's say we're gonna make this, we're gonna put this into a wall, and we're gonna put light behind it so it glows against the wall, which is what I wanna do. First of all, let's save what we've done. So Shift Command S. I'm gonna select my external M.2 drive. That's what I'm working on, and I'm gonna call this Bulls logo, right? And I'm gonna save that. So what I'm gonna show you, it's gonna help you along the way, so you don't have to keep guessing where edge loops go. So we're gonna select, double click the edges around, right? We're gonna press W, and we're gonna press Shift click and drag just a little bit. I'm gonna press 1. Let's fix this. I'm gonna press 1, right? So right now, if I press 3, that's gonna be tight, okay? That's what I want. But I'm not done. With that still, I'm gonna press Shift click and drag one more time. Shift click and drag, let's leave a center here. Shift click and drag, and shift click and drag one more time to get another tight edge, okay? Why did I do that? Because if not, then I would have to manually add those, and I don't like doing that. I'd rather get it done and out of the way. Now if I press 3, bam. If you want it deeper than that, all you gotta do is press spacebar, come to your top view, press 1, spacebar, and I think I'm gonna go deeper. What I was trying to say earlier was, before I end the tutorial, is let's say I want this deeper and I want lighting behind it. We're gonna get into lighting later on, but I just want to show you guys what I mean by that. So let's say I want to put this on the wall, and let's say the Bulls designer said, hey, you know, Tenyo, put a light behind it so it glows against the wall. Now if I press 3 on this, it's a good looking logo, it's a good looking background. Everything else is gonna go on top of this. But if I create a plane, I'm gonna create a plane. I'm gonna press E, hold down J, and rotate it to down here. It says 90. If you focus on this area, it's gonna give you the see, 30, 45, 60, 75, 90. Now if I press this back here, right, this is cool, and let's scale this all the way up as much as I want. Let's say this is good, and I want to make sure that this has something lighting behind it. All I gotta do is create a light called area light, right? And this is it here, and I'm gonna push that in here, right? So when you look at the area light, this little line tells you what it's pointing at. You see that's where it's pointing at, this here. So it's pointing in the right direction. Let's say I want it here, right? And let's see how that looks. So spacebar here, right? And we're gonna press Arnold in viewport. This is new in Maya 2023, 2024. You don't see nothing, right? However, if we take this and we increase it to 300 or more, we can start seeing that this is illuminated from the back, okay? We can even scale it or make it smaller. We can scale it, but we don't want it too big, okay? We want to make sure that it stays inside of the bowl. So we're gonna have to line this up in here in the middle of the bowl, and now let's stretch it as much as we can, okay? And let's push it up, okay? That's fine. So how does this work? So let's say that we can increase this even to 5,000. So this is what I mean by it's backlit, okay? However, if we add, I want to add a new material to this. So I want to add a new material, Arnold, standard surface. And I want to do the same thing to this. G, Arnold, standard surface, right? As you can see, that looks pretty cool. But the coolest part is if I take this one, and we have presets. We're gonna clean this up in a bit before I show you guys how to clean this up. You see all that stuff that I'm scrolling through right here? The way we handle this, and let's take care of it now. Select everything, edit, delete by type history, non-deformer, freeze, and center. Now you see how clean this is? I got right to the point. I wanted to show you that so you guys can see that sometimes cleaning up as you go along is gonna help you a lot. Especially if you have a computer that doesn't have too much memory, you have to do that constantly so that, you know, it doesn't slow down your Maya. I'm working on I have two Macs, by the way. This one that I'm working on is an M1 Mac, which surprisingly guys, I have the other Mac, which is a 27-inch. I have 100 something gigs in it, i9. Surprisingly, this little M1 Mac kicks that one's butt a lot of the times in rendering response. I mean, it's crazy. M1 is crazy. I haven't tried the M2 yet, which I'm dying to, but if this is M1, I don't know. I can't say what M2 and M3 is gonna do, you know, to impress me even more. So that says a lot. And I'm a 3D artist, which I like to pound the hell out of my machine when I'm working to test it. And this M1 is powerful. Okay, so let's keep going. A little bit of side rant there. So now let's say this bowl. Once you put AI standard surface, you get presets, right? Let's say I want this to be plastic, and I'm gonna replace that, and I'm gonna make this red, right? Bull's red. Let's say that's red, right? So now what I can do is I can take another light. I can create a spotlight. Create light spotlight, right? I'm gonna drag this out. Okay, the reason we're seeing blue here, I forgot to mention this, is because plastic has subsurface scattering, right? So we're gonna have to come here and we change that to red, but in subsurface, we're gonna have to change that to red also. Now we no longer get that blue weird thing that we were going. So let's go back here and select our spotlight. We're gonna pull it out. And we're gonna take this and intensify it, right? Let's say by 300. So once we pull this out, let me do something real quick. Let me stop rendering. Let me look at it from the side and see what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm gonna make this bigger. I'm gonna rotate it, and I'm gonna point down, and I'm gonna put it right around here. Okay, now let's go back to the render. So let's say, right, it's not focused where I want, but this is how we play with our lighting, guys. We can give it more light. We can take that edge is so sharp, so we can make that bigger or smaller, and we can kill that edge. And we can make a drop off, okay? So let's see. Okay, so let's make it a 20 penumbra angle. And so see, so now by doing that, watch the kind of lighting we get. I'm gonna show you guys something real quick before we go, but you're gonna have fun with this. So let's just say, for example, let's say that you want this to have an atmospheric look, right? because you can see that it's shining, but that's it. We're gonna go to the render settings, the display settings here, right? We're gonna go under Arnold render, and we're gonna come all the way down to where it says environment, and we're gonna add an atmosphere volume. And before we touch anything else, we're gonna bring this up just a little bit. Check that out, guys. That's crazy. So right now you're seeing like a spotlight on the Bose logo, and then the backlit is also on it. Let's drop that light in the back a little bit. That's a lot. So let's bring it down too, because it's like, here we go. That's more like it. So let's do that. So as you can see, if I make the spotlight, where's my spotlight? The spotlight even wider. Why? Okay, here we go. The cone angle, we can make it even smaller. I think that's fine there. So as you guys can see, we're rendering in the viewport. It's amazing because you can see more or less a quick idea of what you're gonna get. Now this backdrop here, I'm gonna assign a new material. Arnold standard surface, and I'm gonna change this to another material. Let's say chrome. Let's try chrome. No, I don't like chrome because it's showing the light. Let's try plastic too. So let's change that to red or white. Yeah, let's go with white. So now, again, it gives you a whole new idea of what you can do. Again, Arnold and Maya is a great combination. Sometimes when I want something a bit more detailed, I render in Substance Painter or in Keyshot. I don't have Keyshot in this machine yet, but I do have it in my other Mac, so you guys will see me use Keyshot in the other Mac. But for now, yeah, guys, I'm gonna let this render out a little bit so you can see more or less a quick effect of what we're getting. You know what? Let's take this and the area light and let's move it forwards a little bit. Let's tighten it up. So let's see what we get with this. And once this is done, I'm gonna end the tutorial. Guys, again, I am the Rum Soaked Pirate. I do graphic design also. So if you have questions on how to vector a logo, I also do drawings by hand and I digitize those in my iPad. I have an M1 iPad also. So if you guys want to see how that works, I can show you guys also how that works. Don't hesitate to ask. You know, I'm an open book. I always like to make sure that anything that I teach you guys is for your benefit. It also helps me if you like and subscribe. I had a previous channel, but I'm starting this one from scratch. I will be adding videos at least once or twice a week, and maybe more if time permits. But we're letting this clear out just a little bit more, so you guys can see at least the effects around this area here. So let's give it a few. But while that happens, again, please like and subscribe. It's really greatly appreciated. Anything you guys need, you know, again, comment. You can email me, rumsoakedpirateware@gmail.com. Feel free, you know, to message me here on this video. I also do a lot of 2D to 3D, like I'm doing here, but with weapons and, you know, different types of props. So if you're having a hard time with that, you can also hit me up with that. So guys, this is pretty decent on what we're gonna get for now, because this is just a render in the viewport. It's not a final render. And I also just have the samples very simple. I haven't increased these yet. Thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We're gonna continue this on part 2, so thank you so much, and have a great day, great night, great evening, whatever day it is for you. Take care and drink up, me hearties, yo ho.